to start off by getting to know you a little better as an animal lover. Did you always have a yearning to help rescue pets?
So no, I actually grew up without pets. My mom especially, was afraid of dogs. We were that crazy family that when we saw a dog coming, we would cross the street to get away from the dog. And if your parents raise you that way, you're going to be scared of dogs. So I was scared of dogs until I met my husband, and he had dogs. And at first, his dogs. At first, they had to put the dogs away when I came over. I remember going to his dad's house, and he had this little pug that had to go in a crate when I came over because I was scared of it. But eventually, one of his mom's dogs actually, it was a little Jack Russell named Bagel. Terrified. I was terrified. I mean, I would have to Bagel had to go away. Eventually, Bagel got old, and so it was he was less scary. And so Bagel would jump on the couch, and he didn't scare me as much because I knew he was old. And Bagel would sleep right next to me and let me pet him. And so he kind of wormed his way into my heart. But still, other dogs I wasn't super comfortable around. Old Bagel, that's fine. But other dogs, not so much. And then I kind of, during medical school, they kind of started growing a little bit on me, but still I was a little leery of them. And then we moved back to Orlando, and we were in Philadelphia for medical school. And Anthony said, "It's time to get a dog." I was like, "Okay, I can do this. I'm good with it." So I didn't know how you get a dog. I was like, "So we go to the dog store?" And he was like, "No, we do not go to the dog store. We go to the rescue, to the SPCA, the Humane Society, and we look for a dog." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So we went several times, actually, 3 or 4 times looking. We didn't quite see what we wanted. I knew I wanted a tricolor dog because Bagel was a tricolor dog, but I didn't know anything more beyond that. And so we ended up we're at the rescue for the 4th week in a row. We actually thought we found one. I can't remember his name, but he did not like Anthony. It wasn't he was mean to Anthony, or just Anthony walked into the meeting room and he just turned his head and walked around and walked away. So we were like, okay, that's not the one for us. And then one day we went, and Franklin was there, and he was in this, the terrible crates that they're in, and he had some terrible roommate who pooped all over the place, and he was just in the corner, trying to stay away from the other roommate and from the poop. And we took him out into the meeting area. They had a fenced-in yard, and he just ran like crazy, and he was so happy to be out, and he ran to us, and we were like, this is the one. Oh. And then he was still a little bit big. We couldn't take him home that day because he had to be fixed. So Anthony visited him during the week one time while he was waiting for his surgery. And then we went to pick him up, and I was a little surprised by how big he was. I was like, that's a bigger dog than I thought we adopted. I was like, it's okay, I got this. And then, we got him in the car, we got him home, and I was like, is he going to scare me? I don't know. And as soon as he got to our house, I was in love with him. And yeah, he hasn't, he was part of the family.
Oh, so sweet. So was he a puppy when you first saw him, or he just was a bigger dog and you remembered him being smaller?
No, he was just a bigger dog, and he was 2 when we adopted him, so he was fully grown. But he had he was a hunting dog, and then he was probably a bad hunter, or they had no use for him anymore, and they just let him loose, and then somebody found him, and then that somebody her daughter was having a baby, is the story, and couldn't keep him, and so took him to the Humane Society. So we're glad he was taken there and not abandoned. But
yeah,
and
right.
Then the next year, right? Yeah. And then the next year we decided that Franklin needed a companion because he was getting some anxiety when we left. So we found his sister Katie, also from the Humane Society, and she actually had to live in a foster home because she was heartworm positive, so she had to be treated in the foster home. So she came to us, and then we got Juliet a year later, where I was at the SPCA picking up flyers for an event, and Anthony wandered into the animal area and came back with Juliet in his arms. So, and this dog was so fat. I kid you not. Her belly could almost touch the ground. She was so big. She was like a Jack Russell Beagle mix. And then Annie was one of those emails, has some, owner left them tied to a tree, neighbors taking care of them, but neighbor's moving and needs home for dog. And a friend sent it to us, and I said the inn was full, but Anthony said we had room for one more. So he went and got this dog that I don't think ever spent a day in a house. I mean, she was covered in fleas and ticks. She hadn't been fixed. I mean, we took her to the vet, and the vet was like, where did you find this thing? And but she's mellowed into a sweet old lady. Can you still see me?
Uh-huh. Yes.
Okay. Then we were good with 4 for a while. And then we lost Franklin and we added Lincoln shortly thereafter. And then we have a Winston now too. So right now we have 3.
Okay. Oh my
That was probably
goodness.
more than you asked. I can't remember what the question was, but
No, I love it. I love your house full of dogs. And they're all, are they all beagle mixes?
they're all hound mixes of some
Okay.
sort. So they're all tricolor. They look kind of like tall beagles, pretty much like beagles that have overgrown their legs. So we DNA tested them. So one's half pointer. One, Annie actually, who's she's huge. She's like 75% beagle. It's crazy. So
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You know, it's funny. I asked you about the size because we had something similar happen with Mac. You know, I had been working with Mac at the shelter for almost 2 years and I thought he was smaller than he was. And then we got him home. And I think it was when he was next to Cusco. We were like, wow, you're bigger than I thought you were.
Well, I think it was because he was like running free and then you get him into your house, but not free, but in the yard outside, and you get him into your house and you realize the scale of things. Or he was actually inside at this checkout area at the SPCA, and I was like, it's pretty big. But it's all good.
Yeah.
He's not the biggest one we've had now, so.
So funny. It's awesome that you guys are, you know, parents to like 3 to 4 dogs at any given time. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, 2 isn't that much more than 1, and 3 isn't that much more than you still have to feed them and let them out and, you know, bathe them and take them to the vet, so.
You know, we've been talking, well, we is a loose term. I have been talking about, can't we foster a 3rd one, you know? And Sean's like, no, we cannot. But I don't know. I'm slowly working on it. But like, yeah, why not? One more.
Yeah, you might be able to convince them. Yeah. Especially since the kids are old enough to help.
Yeah, ish. Ish. Yeah. So was the, so Anthony is your husband for, you know,
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know. So he grew up with the mentality of rescuing dogs. Is that right?
So not always. Actually, when he was a kid, they definitely had some dogs, some breeders. And then actually his dad started wanting to rescue Great Danes in specific. And so he had a purebred Great Dane, and then he decided, you know what, we should rescue them. So his dad actually has been kind of led that movement, but it wasn't all his life. I think his dad started rescuing dogs when Anthony was like maybe 16. So it was later in his life, but he really championed that. And so, and I think all along Anthony had thought, why are we getting dogs from breeders and stuff like that? But his parents that's where they were getting them. So I think that he kind of saw that in an early place in his life. And then his dad championed that. And then it just seemed like the right thing and is the right thing to do.